Hello, everybody. As you're coming in, if you want to drop your name, where you are in the world, your LinkedIn in the chat, it'd be great to know who's here. We're going to kick off pretty quickly because we've got 45 minutes, and this is a session I personally have been looking forward to for months. So welcome to the Grow Track. I am Lisa with Lettuce. As you may have heard in an earlier session, I am also an S Corp owner and a member of the Lettuce Healthcare PEO. So I am one of you. And we are going to talk today about a challenge of solos that I also personally have, and just how do I make sure I'm not cringy on LinkedIn? It probably stops me more than I do it and learn from it. So if you want to tell us too, when you post on LinkedIn, do you feel good about it? Do you get 11 likes? Maybe all of them are from your family, which is cringe in itself. But we know that we're told often that LinkedIn's critical channel for solos to be generating awareness and engagement for our business. But even those of us that are doing it well are probably leaving a lot of opportunity on the table. Again, not because we don't lack our own expertise, but because we're not packaging it up in a way that can really earn the attention it deserves. Similar, let's just take a little plug for a moment of things that are often not packaged up in the right way, and that's your back office. So as I mentioned, I'm a Lettuce customer, and Lettuce is helping us all build our solo HQ so that we can easily package up taxes, payroll, bookkeeping, now thank God healthcare, in a way that allows us to have a great structure there so we can spend our time working on great content that can help us grow our business. A few housekeeping items following that. Please feel free to drop questions in the chat as they come up. If you love someone else's question, give it a thumb up. We'll keep our eyes on the ones that surface. Head over to our networking tab during breaks outside of the sessions to get to know each other a little bit. You can follow Lettuce on LinkedIn and Instagram so you can stay in the loop with us after today. Another great way to stay in the loop with us is to check out the offers tab. There's an offer from our speakers as well as from Lettuce that will get you things like 3 months or free months if you sign up by the end of May, or if you're already a Lettuce customer, show you also how to get a free month by looking in your dashboard. Okay, without further ado, I want to quit talking. I want to listen to Wes. So Wheelis is a self-described expertise whisperer, solo consultant, and the creator of the Lightbulb, a daily newsletter for independent consultants. His path to solo consulting included not one, but 2 tech layoffs that ultimately capped out a 20-year corporate career spanning stints at the Boston Consultant Group, Expedia, and the ed tech startup Reforge. Today, Wes runs Develop My IP, a solo practice centered on expertise visualization. He helps consultants translate their deep, invisible knowledge into visible explainers and signature frameworks that build authority fast. He holds a BA from Wharton. This is 2 Penn people today already, and an MBA from Kellogg School of Management, and his first book, The Expert's Privilege, debuts next month. Wes is a 2-time Solo Summit speaker, so welcome back. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It's really fun to be back. I had a great time last year, and excited to bring a brand new workshop to the Solo Summit. Thank you all for joining. You'll be the first group that's going through this workshop, so I'm excited to see how it goes. I think there's a few more people here than I had expected, but the tool that we'll play with in the middle of the session, I believe, will hold up. So we'll see how that goes. We've got to love live events. Wanted to start today by just saying that I am a LinkedIn optimist. I wanted to say that up front because when you see the workshop titled the way it is, you might expect me to come up and start with a 10-minute rant on how the platform has gone south or how there's so much junk in the feed. And don't get me wrong, I see there's already some of that in the chat. We can get that out on the table like real quickly, but we'll move on pretty quickly as well. We'll focus today really about how you can elevate above what's the noise that's on the feed. And I like focusing on that because I do believe that LinkedIn is this Garden of Eden of sorts. And yes, this is an AI-generated image, and I'll talk about that in a second. But, you know, think about it. There's over 1 billion users. There's 300 million or so active users. 40% of those are active every day. So it's pretty incredible what they've been able to amass, and particularly for knowledge workers. And it's not just a place to, show off your resume or boast about your promotion, but people are really genuinely using it to share and to connect, to hire talent, to find work. But I think it's really been a gift for solo business owners, and it's allowed us to create businesses that we couldn't have done 20 years ago, or maybe even 10. You think about even launching a niche service business, which I hope you all are. Think about how difficult that would be, just doing that organically on your own in your own city or town. LinkedIn has really opened the doors for us. So I want to ground us there, that this is a gift to have, but also want to call attention to this guy in the tree over here on this image. The temptation is all around us in this Garden of Eden, and ironically, the temptation is the algorithm itself. And it's coaxing us into posting things that we wouldn't necessarily think to post otherwise. And so I think this is the chance. Let's get it out on the table. I want to hear what is cringy that you're seeing in your feed. What are the fads you're seeing right now? What are the things, the behaviors that you yourself are taking on that you wouldn't have come to naturally? Maybe you can name a few of these. I have a few that I've been seeing that I have on the next slide, but curious what you all are seeing. AI slop I'm seeing. Thanks, Suna. So much video. Yep. People giving flowers. Oh, yeah. I'm thrilled to have been promoted. Yeah, that's yeah, these are good. Okay, so it's hard because we all see somewhat different feeds, but also the trends are pretty much the same. So I'm calling this like today's forbidden fruit. What I've been seeing from a visual perspective is over-reliance on selfies, on dense infographics, memes, Canva quotes. I think you know what I mean when I say that. And then, of course, AI slop, like the image I just showed you of the Garden of Eden, which took me 5 seconds to make in ChatGPT. I wouldn't really post that on LinkedIn unless I had a really good reason for it. So when I look at this list, I want to share that I'm not above this list. If you look through my profile right now, you'll see some of this right here. I just posted a selfie 15 minutes ago from this hotel room that I'm doing this from. But I think the problem is when this becomes default behavior. And that's when I start to think, that's not what we would create naturally, and I think that we can do better. Each one of us has a very unique expertise that we've developed over decades, and we have a lot to share. And when it's funneled into these kind of cliche or forced formats, it's just really a shame in a lot of ways, and I think we can do better. So if you're with me on that, if you wouldn't mind, just type in the chat, we can do better. If this was a live in the room session, I would have everyone stand up and yell it, but maybe a little Tony Robbins moment if you want to write, we can do better in the chat. Because I think we can do better. Thank you, Elizabeth. You were the first one that I saw. Thank you. And we can do better with one simple mindset shift, and that is when we are eating the forbidden fruit, we're looking at that empty box and we're saying, what should I put in there? And we're really asking the question of what does the algorithm want to see? And the algorithm will tell you exactly what it wants to see. It'll say, post that selfie. It'll say, repost that meme. It'll be hilarious. The algorithm is very clear what it likes, but the algorithm doesn't pay our bills. It doesn't run our business. We really need to be focused on what does our ideal client want to see? And that's what we'll be focused on today. And to do that, I'm going to give you a framework, I'm going to give you a tool, and I'm going to give you a new starting point for how you can think about visual content. And once you see it, I think you won't be able to see your own LinkedIn content the same way, and you also won't be able to see the feed the same way. So more specifically, I created a framework called Iris. It's 4 dimensions to gauge a visual and whether or not it's going to land with your ideal client. I made a tool called Iris that applies this framework to any visual you pop into it. So I'll give you some time to play with that. And then I'll come back and share with you what I'll call your new starting point. So after pumping 300 visuals through this tool, I started to see a pattern of what the common theme across them is. And I'm excited to share that with you then. So just Lisa gave a good introduction. I'm not going to go over my entire background, but you might be wondering, who is this guy and why is he the one talking to us about visuals? I didn't go to school for visual design. I just, over the last few years, have noticed that the prominent trend throughout my entire career has been synthesizing expertise into visuals. So starting back at BCG, right out of undergrad, it was the typical consulting work of synthesizing research and analysis into slides and frameworks. That continued to building courses for product managers at Expedia and Reforge. When I went out on my own in 2022, I was funneling expertise out of founders' brains and turning that into frameworks and content marketing. And then now for the past 2 years, I've been working specifically with independent consultants who are struggling to get the market to really understand their deep decades of expertise. So we turn those into visuals that I call intellectual headshots. Those are visual explainers, signature frameworks, videos, etc. And I call it that, and this is what I tell my clients, is that every visual you put out into the world has the opportunity to be a headshot of your expertise. And I share this with you today because I want you to think about everything that you've been putting out on LinkedIn over the past few months or year, and ask yourself, have those visuals been serving as a true headshot of what you know? And if they haven't been, then that's an opportunity that we can close. So we're going to hop into the framework now, and to do so, I'm going to show you two different visuals from two different creators, two different approaches you'll see very quickly, and then I'll introduce the framework on top of that. So the first one is, this is on the topic of AI. This is a visual that I cropped the creator's name up. I didn't want to roast anyone in public. That's not what I'm here to do today. But if you haven't seen this visual, you've probably seen one that's like a pretty dense, hard to read, easy to skip over, just something that kind of looks like a nice polish, but what do you actually do with it is the question here. Then let me show you one other one from another AI creator, same domain. Okay, I'm seeing the reactions in the chat now about this one. Yeah, that's what I said too. Yowza is good. It's pretty intense. Here's a different creator. I didn't crop out this one. This is Ruben Hafid. You might know him. He's a great content creator around the topic of AI. He took a different approach, obviously. He took one core insight and wanted to share that with his audience. There's still a lot going on, but if you, once you get it, you see that he's talking about how AI adoption, essentially there's a lot of people behind you on the curve, and if you want to stay ahead of that curve, then to follow him. So, two different creators, same domain, two different visual approaches. One I would call regrettably forgettable, and one that I would say is genuinely good. But it doesn't really help you to say like Wes likes this one and doesn't like that one. I wanted to get more specific about how you could tell the difference between the two. So that's when I created the Iris framework. And feel free to screenshot this, but also when we get into the tool, you'll have the opportunity to download all of these slides and all the examples. But let me just tell you the 4 parts of this framework. These are 4 dimensions, 4 questions to ask to see if your visual is going to land with your ideal client. It's instant. Does this land in 2 to 3 seconds? Remember, this is a visual in the feed, so you need to be able to get it very quickly. Resonant, does this speak specifically to something that your ideal client is feeling or experiencing? Insightful, yes, of course we all want to be insightful, but are you actually sharing something that's novel and valuable, or is it just a repackaging of something that someone already knows? And spark is, does it prompt contact? Not, does it spark a like, does it actually make someone want to talk to you and learn more? So those are the 4 dimensions. Now let's think about it with reference to these 2 visuals. So this visual is almost immediately ruled out because it's not an instant visual, right? And also I'm not really sure what client experience it's speaking to. Insightful, maybe if I zoomed in, there's probably some good content in there, but it's really hard for me to know, and probably won't go in there to find out. And then it probably doesn't spark a contact. It might actually do the opposite. It might scare people away. Where Ruben's is, you can get it pretty quickly. Maybe it's a little bit more than 2 to 3 seconds. Does it speak to someone's feelings or experience about AI adoption? Yeah, I think everyone is always wondering where they are on this curve. Insightful. I've never seen a breakdown of AI adoption like this, so I would say yes. And does it prompt me to want to learn more from Ruben? Yes, I think so. So before I go any further, and we're almost at the point where I'm going to share the tool with you, if you saw these visuals on LinkedIn, you would see underneath both of them that they both had hundreds of likes and reposts. And I don't know how many saves because I can't see that on other people's posts. But the point is that the LinkedIn algo metrics are not going to give you a good read on whether or not this is actually landing with your ideal client. It's just going to give you a read on the algo metrics. So then the question is, okay, well, what is going to tell me if it's landing with my ideal client? Well, it's the people that show up at your door and ask questions and feel like they know you or that you know their situation. But before that, we can give a proxy. So that's what the Iris tool is meant to do. So I'm just about to give you the link to go play with this for a little bit, and then we'll come back and I'll close out with that pattern that I was telling you about. But first, I just want to show you what the interface is like, how to use it, what the output looks like, and then I'll set you free for a little bit. So this is Iris. It's a web app. You don't need to download anything. It works on desktop and mobile. And it's a really simple interface. So you just drop in or paste a visual. What I usually do is on LinkedIn, I'll just right-click, copy image, and then if you press Control-V anywhere in this site, then it will drop into that box. Then you answer one question of what do you do. And this is just you telling Iris how to look at your visual. Through what lens is she looking through your visual? So you can say something simple like, I help B2B companies with their social media presence. And now she knows what to look for. And then you click Get Your Critique. Under normal conditions, the critique only takes 3 or 4 seconds. If we're all hitting at the same time, we'll see what happens, but everything should be all right. The output that you get is this instant read on, I know you can't read this one, but on each of the 4 dimensions, it will give you analysis of your visual. And like for this pyramid, it pretty much quickly said, you know, this is not an instant diagram. So you get assessments on each one of the dimensions. For Ruben's, it said, you know, even a good diagram, this is going to say, okay, his call to action could have been a little bit better. What I love even more about those analyses are these 2 upgrades at the bottom. There's a content upgrade suggestion and an execution upgrade suggestion. The concept upgrade suggestion is about it can detect the insight that you're trying to get across, and it will challenge you and ask you to take that a little bit further. And then the execution upgrade is actually about the visual design. So in this case, I think it was telling Ruben to maybe condense some of these categories. But that's about the visual design. So this is yours to play with now. And the last disclaimer is when you go to the tool, you will see an orange banner that pops in saying, do you want to download the slides for today? Feel free to do that then, and then that banner will come down at the end of the day. And without further ado, go and have at. Let's hope it doesn't break. You can just go to ratemyvisual.com and start playing with it. Again, you'll see that banner at the top for the slides. You can get it out of the way, or yeah, just start dropping in your visuals. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give you all 5 minutes to get acquainted with it. Again, this is going to be yours to play with for well after the workshop. But I just want to let you play around, see what you find. You can drop some of your own visuals in it. You can you know, drop something from your saved folder. You can even just pull something straight off the feed and see how Iris rates it. What I'm going to do is, as you all are playing with this, I'm going to take a sip of water, and then I'm also going to switch the windows here. And for those of you that aren't able to play with the tool right now, I'm going to just do a few live demos, and then I'm going to pull us back at, let's say, 11 or 12 past, and then we'll finish out the rest of this. Please don't leave before the conclusion, because I want you to know the pattern that I saw across all of these visuals. And if you're not seeing the link, it's here at the top ratemyvisual.com. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah. Okay. For those who aren't playing around themselves, let me see if I can switch the window. And again, I'll give you just like 5 minutes or so to play around with this. Hold on. And here we go. All right, Lisa, can you see my screen?
I see, yes. I mean, it says Iris, elevate your LinkedIn visuals.
And you see me scrolling? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do for those who aren't actively playing around is I'm just going to show a demo, and this will be good for anyone watching the recording as well. So what I typically do is I'm going to go into my LinkedIn, and I'm just going to go to my profile, and I'm going to go on images. So the first thing you'll see is on my images, you'll see the selfie I just posted before this presentation, but you'll see overall what I've tried to, it's not a terrible thing to show people what you look like and that you're a real person in the world, but you'll see what I've tried to post over the past couple of years is more like visual metaphors and diagrams and some frameworks. So I'm going to open one. Here's one that I created about positioning and finding a niche. So this one obviously has a twister metaphor. So all I'm going to do is just copy this, and then I'm going to go back to Iris, and I'm going to just Control V. There is, yeah, that loaded in the box, and I'm just going to say, I help solo consultants nail their positioning and build visual assets. And then click Get My Critique. Okay, it looks like the tool is holding up with all the traffic, so that's good. You can see Iris liked this one. Genuinely Good is the top ranking. It's a green, yellow, red situation. And but here, even so, it's going to give me some analysis, things that I could even up-level this even more. I like that this, when it comes to Spark, like the visual itself is clear enough. I'd be curious to see what other insights this consultant offers, how they help solve the Owning Your Lane challenge. And then, yeah, Iris gave me a couple upgrade options, maybe like deepening the Own Your Lane side. Let's see. I could subtly indicate the game aspect. So these are things just to consider as you continue to up-level your visuals. Let's see, how are we doing in the room? Anyone? I also wanted to say, if you're out there and you're rating your visuals and you get scored genuinely good, please email me and send me what you submitted, because I would love to feature it in my newsletter. The genuinely good metric is awarded to roughly like 20% of what gets fed in there. Not as a cap, it's just what Iris decided that she likes. So yeah, if you're getting good marks on your visuals, please let me know. I'm going to stop sharing now and move back to the presentation. How's everyone doing with the tool? Anyone want to say what they're... Okay. All right, Suna, you got noticed but fleeting. Yeah, that's the middle ground. That means it's good, and then there's just opportunities for upgrade. Great. Okay, it looks like people have caught on. So, and the tool didn't break, so that's great. I can breathe easier now. Okay. And to the question about should you use just the image or does it analyze the whole post, Iris will only look at the visual aspect of it. I'll talk about the written post in a second. Great question. And all right, let me pull us back, and I just want to pay close attention to time. So what I'm going to show you now is, all right, I said that I ran over 300 visuals through Iris, and I noticed a pattern. What I'm going to do is show you 3 of them. They're all different. These are 3 that got scored as genuinely good, and I want to see if you can see the pattern. And then, of course, I'll tell you what I saw afterwards. So this is the first one. If you've followed me at all or subscribed to my newsletter, you've seen this probably 1,000 times. Probably best to retire it after today. But this is an intellectual headshot that I built with my client, Mark. Mark is a fractional general counsel for B2B SaaS companies, and they have a lot of enterprise contracts that they deal with, and he wanted to depict something about how his clients hate lawyers, and that's where sales go to die. So this is what we came up with. This plugged into Iris and got a genuinely good. The next one, this one is from Joe Daniels. You might follow Joe. He does a lot of great work around helping consultants package their offers. And this one caught my eye in the feed just because I didn't know what a low ticket loop was. And then as I started reading this loop, then they started kind of resonating. I was like, oh yeah, I know what that feels like to put out a low ticket offer and then feel like you're trapped in it. So this one got marked as genuinely good. I'll show all these side by side in a second. And then the last one is from Dena Priest. Dena works kind of in the same lane of helping people leave corporate and start a solo business. This one spoke to me right away because you know, we all think when we start out solo that it's this straight line and you're just going to build a business and it's going to be all fun and games. And the reality is that it's really up and down, and really kind of down in the first or second year. It can be. So this one kind of hit me right there, and yeah, it makes you think that if you reached out to Dena, that she actually would like understand what you're thinking. So with that, these are 3 different visuals. You can see all different design forms. Mine and Mark's is like almost like a meme quality. Joe's is more polished, the framework, and Dena's is kind of somewhere in between. But if you have any guesses about what the pattern is behind them, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. Yeah. As you're doing that, I'll give you a hint. And the hint is that every service business has an underlying narrative spine. Oh, I like these guesses. Sorry, they're just coming through. Okay, great. Every service business has an underlying narrative spine. I don't have time to go through this entire framework, but this is the first step that I do with any client before we get to the visualization stage. Because if you're not really clear on what you're taking to market and what your narrative is, it's not really worth building visuals for that. We have to have this piece of the puzzle to move forward. So this is, you know, pretty clearly your ideal client, their profile, and then from there you have what pain are they going through, what problem is causing that pain within their business, what's your point of view on that problem in the domain. Is it something that's chronic? Is it something that's new? Is it something that's layered and people don't understand? That's your point of view. Then you have your path to solution, and then you have your service of how people can work with you. So you have to have this in place for a lot of different things. For, I think, any kind of content, this is the format for case studies, for web copy, everything. This is extremely important. Like I said, step 1 of my process with any client. It's called a positioning close-up. It's actually a lot of fun. But I call it out here because of all those visuals that came back as genuinely good, I noticed over all of them that the best ones that scored the best overall, it's like 9 times out of 10, they're depicting the pain point, which makes sense when you think about it, because you're putting a visual in the feed where people don't have a lot of time or context, but it is, what's ICP? Yeah, ideal client profile. Yeah, when you are putting out a visual that depicts the pain point, it's hitting someone almost instantly, and it makes them want to engage a little bit more. If you start kind of carrying on about what your solution is, in a feed, no one really has any context about what you're talking about. You have to build them up to that point. So let's see like kind of proof of how this landed. So from a pain perspective, of these three, so like Mark's, I just saw the insane clown posse joke. Yeah, so the pain point on Mark's visual was that legal kills deals. That's really like what his client feels, and Mark identified it and now kind of opened up a conversation. In Joe's visual, the pain point is my offers aren't working, and he's now given you a language to talk about what's happening in your business, even if you haven't named it yourself. Dena, the pain is going solo is hard, and she proves through this visual that that she understands that, and if you reach out to her, you don't have to start from zero. She's already at your level, understanding what you're going through. And just for fun, let's apply this to those AI visuals. What's the pain point on this pyramid infographic? I still don't know, you know, unless your pain point is I'm brand new to AI and have no clue what I'm doing, like maybe that's what this is, but because it's so detailed, it actually obscures what the pain they're trying to talk about is. The Rubens, on the other hand, is hitting on a real pain of I want to upskill on AI, but I feel behind, and this is a visual that addresses that directly. So what do we do with all that? Well, here is, now if we know that that visual can be anchored in your pain point, now let's think about the rest of your narrative spine. If your visual is your pain point, that gets them hooked in. You can then, they'll then open up your post and see what you wrote about it. So to the question about what do you do with a written post, this is where you go deeper into details about the problem, the point of view, like how you see this issue. That's your chance to shine, is in the written piece. And then anything about your solution and service, I would put that further in for the people that are interested in what you've showed them and said. Now your profile is where they can learn more about how you solve the problem. So this is my suggestion to you. I've given you the framework, the tool, the starting point, which is the pain. And now I would give you one weekly challenge. So I'm not here saying that you need to spend hours and hours creating visuals and that everything that you post needs to be this like high quality, like excellent example through Iris. I would say just start thinking weekly, or like start with the pain point, articulate that clearly for yourself, and then think about how you can cleverly articulate that pain point visually. Then submit it to Iris. She takes draft forms just fine. She takes hand drawings. Just put it in there and see what happens. You'll get an assessment and you'll get upgrade suggestions, and then you can post those to LinkedIn. And then I just want you to watch the change in the types of conversations that come your way. I can't tell you how many times I've posted a visual, and not the ones that go viral, by the way, the ones that only get like a few hundred or 1,000 impressions. Those are the ones that people book time with me and say, hey, I can't get that twister image out of my head. I need help with it. Or all those helper personas that you laid out in a framework, like that's what I need help sorting through. Those are the kinds of conversations I want to come your way. And you're just not going to get those from posting a selfie or a meme or an AI-generated slop graphic. So with that, I want to make sure that we leave time for questions, but that's what I have for you. I want to make sure that you're aware of what you can take away with the resources. So obviously you know where Iris is, ratemyvisual.com. Use it as frequently as possible. And please, the invite's open. If you're getting good marks, if you're getting ones that say genuinely good, send them to me and I will put them in the newsletter and get you some, hopefully some traffic your way. You should have seen the orange banner. If you want the slides from today, go ahead and submit that form and those will be in your inbox instantly. And underneath that banner, and that banner will disappear after today, so don't worry, it won't continue to clog you up. But there are two links. There's one to the Lightbulb and there's one that says headshots. So the Lightbulb is my daily-ish newsletter for solo consultants. It's where I post my own visuals, updates about Iris and also just general insights and frameworks for building a solo business. And then if you're interested in some one-on-one work to articulate your expertise, not just on LinkedIn, but everywhere in your sales and marketing collateral, then that's what I do one-on-one through my Intellectual Headshots studio. You can read more about that at developmyip.com. And again, all the links are there on the Iris page. So thank you for being my, you're not quite the guinea pigs because I had a lot of testers for the tool, but I certainly didn't have this many at once. So thank you for and I will hand it over to Lisa and maybe we take some questions.
Yeah, I'm just so honored that you allowed us to be your guinea pigs and try this tool out. We've got a nice little collaborative solo summit, Wes releasing new ideas. Let's keep it going.
No better place to do it.
Thank you. Our group of solos is awesome. You've had a good audience over here. I'm going to try to get through some of the questions. Okay. What happens to the images we upload into Iris? Are they saved in some way, either for Iris or if we want to come back and see our own history in the tool?
Oh, excellent. So you won't be able to see your own history. They get cached on the back end and I can see them, but then they get deleted within 24 hours. So I'm not storing them. I don't really go in there and look at them. I'm still looking at ways to clean that up. But for if you submit it again, the same visual the next day, you might get a different response because every query is generated on demand.
This is a little bit more general question of how you can position yourself on LinkedIn, but if you're doing a variety of things, for example, you're fractional, you're public speaking, you're doing pitch coaching, it's hard for people to simply declare, I help X to do Y. Mm-hmm. Is there a way to help focus there?
Yeah, I mean, I think this comes back to the narrative spine. I would hope that that any way that you're deploying your expertise, even if it's in a lot of different formats like speaking, consulting, teaching, I would imagine there's a common thread that features your point of view. So I would start there and say, what is the core message that I'm carrying forth through all of those formats, and back out from there and say, okay, well, then what can I articulate from there? You should have commonalities in terms of the people that are listening to you, and that would then point you to a similar pain point. So this is where really I would lean on that narrative spine slide in the document and see if you can articulate that for all the different ways that you help people.
Here's a great question about color. They're noticing orange seems to be part of your branding. What do you think about colors and the messages that they can convey?
Oh, that's, I think I accidentally fell on this accent color, but it just kind of organically turned into what I worked into my branding. I think, someone told me years ago to change the background in your LinkedIn photo so that it stands out in the feed. I think that's the easiest thing. It just pick something that you're excited to see over and over again and start there. I think the other things that you might have seen, I had to take some of them out for formatting, but a simple accent here does really go a long way without having to add a ton of ink to the page, so to speak. That's what they told us at BCG, is like no unnecessary ink. Keep it as simple as possible. So colors are a great way to do that.
Great advice. Can I use Iris for other social media platforms?
Yeah, I mean, I would say Iris even is well beyond LinkedIn and well beyond social media too. I mean, you can think of, if you were creating a visual for a proposal deck, you would want some similar type of analysis of if an exec was just flipping through your deck, you'd want to know if it's going to grab their attention and speak to them quickly. Yeah, I would say that this is a great tool for pretty much any social media, but remember that it's really going to be looking at, it's going to be best suited to, like, is it hitting that pain arena? There are visuals that you can make that depict your solution and service. Actually, they can depict your entire narrative spine. That's what I create with my clients. Those will be judged against a different rubric. Like, those are okay to be a bit more detailed. But for anything that you're posting publicly for a large audience, feel free to use Iris for it. I would love to hear about it too. Write me. My links are at the bottom of the Iris page, both my email address and my LinkedIn. So please connect with me and DM me about it.
I think we have time for a couple more questions. Do you have advice on single images versus carousels?
So, great question. So, carousels, one, Iris won't support the critique of carousels. I think that they can be really, really good if they're well done. I would say I would use the carousels for things later on in that narrative spine. So if you're really wanting to depict maybe a full client journey or layers of your point of view on a specific problem, that's when you should use a carousel. I feel like back to like the algorithm-centric nature of it, I think carousels seem to go in and out of style with LinkedIn, but I wouldn't listen to that. I would say, does this get the point across to the person that you want to speak to? And I think carousels are a great way to do that.
I mean, following the LinkedIn algorithm journey is the full-time job. Do you need to tell Iris the visual is B2C versus B2B to get more accurate feedback?
You don't need to. The more specific you get in that what do you do line, it will try to be as specific as possible. That would be my recommendation. It doesn't need a ton of context, but yeah, that is, it should be at the layer of specificity that you're conducting your business. So if you know that you're B2C, go ahead and feed that in.
Okay, thank you, Kim, for bumping your question. You're going to get the last one. Can you talk a little about associated captions for images? How much or how little should accompany images to spark engagement?
I think you mean like in a written post. Is that the?
I think the like captions that would go with the images when you're posting on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Well, if we're talking about written posts, I'm a big fan of going ahead and like adding some written color to whatever image that you're posting. It is an opportunity that if you've gripped someone with the image, they're gonna want to see what else you know about that particular insight. So I would use that as an opportunity. If you're thinking, and back to the narrative spine, use that as an opportunity to talk about deeper understanding of their problem, your point of view. If you're thinking about caption, some people might be asking about like accessibility captions. As a matter of hygiene, I would always include those when asked.
Yeah. People can't find the handout. Is that on us, Wes, or did you have it somewhere too?
Was there no orange bar as a pop down? If not, give me 1 second and I'll get you the link.
Well, we can make sure to email it out to everybody too.
Sure, yeah.
We'll work with you to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, as I do housekeeping closing, if everyone would like to join me in thanking Wes, throw something in the chat that sparked for you or that you learned today. I definitely have a huge thank you, Wes, for creating this for us, joining us today when I know that you're traveling. One of the next steps we're going to do out of the summit that we haven't talked about a lot yet today is we're going to hold solo sessions. So if there's something that's still sticking in your brain, audience, that you're thinking about as far as building your business, tell us what challenges you're doing in your networking slides. Look for signups to join us for the solo sessions following the summit. And we're going to put people in the hot seat. I know Amy Nelson from The Riveter was hiding in here today, and I stole this idea from her, where she's bring in someone, share their business challenge. We'll have one of our community leaders join, give feedback, and then the audience can pipe in as well. So it'll be a nice follow-up to today as people start to build out the work that they learn. And I hope that everyone sticks with us the rest of the day to continue to learn more. Recordings will be emailed out, and we'll see everybody in the rest of the sessions.
I did just put the link to the slides in the chat if you're still here.
Okay.
You should see that in there.
Perfect. Oh, I see it too.
Yeah.
In the Q&A and the chat.
Excellent.
All
right. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Just too. Thanks, everybody.